Hello. We are standing right on the final turn before your car drives you right into San Sebastián del Oeste, a magical town here in the state of Jalisco, some 1 hour and 10 minutes away from Puerto Vallarta. And the reason why we're standing here is, for me, the magic of San Sebastián del Oeste begins at this final turn. You've been on the road. If this is the first time you've been here, you have no idea what awaits you. You've heard of the town, and this is the final turn before you arrive into San Sebastián del Oeste. And I love this turn because the entrance is so beautifully designed. So what we're going to do today is we are going to walk the entrance to San Sebastián del Oeste, and hopefully by doing so you will be able to appreciate a little bit of the magic of it. Frequently when we come and visit this town, we just drive through the entrance, not thinking much about where we're about to go. But the magic starts here. And here is, this structure is fairly new. As you know, being called a pueblo mágico or a magical town has its responsibilities. The town needs to abide by very specific design codes and regulations. You have to build your houses with certain color schemes and with certain number of stories. But this is the entrance to this town. And it looks very quiet and peaceful. But you have to keep in mind that in its climax, in its heyday, I think it is heyday, I'm not sure, but when this town was at its most prosperous point, there were more than 20,000 people living here. Today, San Sebastián del Oeste has a population of less than 5,000 people. But, you know, if you forget about this mountain of rocks at the very entrance, just look at this gorgeous, super wide promenade. And one has to wonder what it must have been like to walk up and down these streets. Another point of perspective. Today, it takes about a little over an hour to get here from Puerto Vallarta. When I first came to San Sebastián, sometime within the last 20 years that I've been living here, it took us about 6 hours to get here. So now imagine this place, turn of the century, and I mean the 19th century, and it must have taken forever to get here, or better yet, to transport the ores, the mineral, out of here and take it down to the ocean, where places like Puerto Vallarta used to be a maritime port. That is, a merchant port, that is. And if you look at some of these walls, I mean, in this wall, for example, clearly the top half is fairly new, but the bottom half must have been built so long ago. So this is the entrance to San Sebastián del Oeste, so close to Puerto Vallarta, and yet so far as the culture and the way the town has grown or not grown through the passing of time. And then there's also the temperature. Right now, of course, I'm walking about with my friends who are cackling over there. But we feel a little bit of the warm, but the air is very fresh, and at night you know, you have to use a blanket when you go to sleep. And when you visit during the winter time, fireplaces are in order. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk all the way into town so that you can take the magic of the town at a slower pace. Because when you're traveling here for the first time, you're probably so overwhelmed by so many things to see, and you're coming by car, and you might miss some of the things. So, as we enter the town, we pass this promenade, and I will point a couple of places of interest. The first one is coming up here on the right-hand side. It's called Café de Altura. And this is I think the name is Café de Altura. This is a coffee plantation. Yes, Café de Altura, La Quinta Mari. And we'll take a photograph of the entrance. Here, you can buy ground coffee that was ground here in San Sebastián del Oeste. Coffee with mocha and some traditional candies. And this is one of those stops that is a must if you're coming to San Sebastián del Oeste. I had not been here for a little over a year. Buenas tardes. And it's amazing to see that there are a bunch of new businesses that have cropped up. But again, you know, the businesses, the homes, the constructions all have to abide by a strict construction code that prevents them from looking differently, from looking not like a small town. Here, the local association of tourism service providers have developed an information booth where the signage is in English and in Spanish, and this is a good thing to see. And we were going to stop at Jardín Nebulosa, which is a brand spanking new restaurant. But of course, we have a very low tolerance for businesses that don't advertise accurately. Jardín Nebulosa's Facebook page says they open in the morning. Then we asked. Then we asked one of the employees what time they open, and he said, "Oh, we open at 1 o'clock." And 1 o'clock came and went, and Jardín Nebulosa is not open. So, can we recommend Jardín Nebulosa? No, we cannot recommend Jardín Nebulosa because they do not open when they advertise. Guys, I guess we're not going to have a beer here, so I'm going to keep walking. Oh yeah, we'll find a place for a beer somewhere else. So people that have been to Jardín Nebulosa will tell you, oh my God, it's a fabulous restaurant, it's a beautiful place. And it is a fabulous restaurant, and it is a beautiful place. But why should one respect a restaurant that doesn't respect one's time, is my question. I suppose we could say, well, it's human error. But I mean, if you are advertising yourself on Facebook, then keep it well advertised. Now, at this point, this road over here becomes the one-way road out of the city. And this road that we're going to continue is the one-way road into the city, because the roads are very narrow. We're walking past one of the local schools. No school on Saturday. Buenas tardes. And here is a good place to take a nice photograph of cars attempting to get into town. As you can see, the town has placed those enormous pillars to make sure that only vehicles of a certain size can enter the town. So if you're moving here and you hire a ginormous moving van, you can count on the fact that this van will not be able to get into town. And now we come to this beautiful and old bridge that I'm going to show you in a second because we can. That's one of the reasons. But I want to point out a couple of interesting things. If we look this way, we're going to see this outdoor amphitheater. This amphitheater belongs to the local cultural house where children and adults can come in and participate in art-related activities. I can see there's a dance class going on in there right now. And it's nice to see this building being occupied. Now, just out of nowhere, you won't be able to see it maybe, but I'm going to take a photograph of it. There's this enormous spider that has appeared, and it's hanging all the way from some cables up there.
It has like jade plants, like tiny.
She's enormous. I love her. Another must place to try here is Comedor La Lupita. This is a wonderful restaurant. I'm going to take a quick peek inside so that you can see it. Comedor La Lupita is this beautiful family-owned restaurant. Buen provecho. And this is a must place to visit when you are here in San Sebastián del Oeste. Their food is yummy. It's very affordable. And again, as I mentioned before, this is the Casa de la Cultura. I'm going to take a quick look inside to show you. Hola. So, this is the cultural center of the city. There's this beautiful mural. And I want to show you that amphitheater again because it is just fascinating to see the way it was built. And here, as you can see, there are students taking dance classes. Que bonito, hola. We're not dancing today. But I want you to take a look at this amphitheater. It is just gorgeous. See? There you go. Now look at the bridge behind it. You can tell that this was built decades ago. I don't know that this theater is used much or not much, but it would be great to see it utilized for a performance of sort. Uy. Uy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There's a second story and there's a library upstairs. Again, it's nice to see that such a small town has these facilities to nurture the curiosity of its inhabitants. So we go back. Buenas tardes. Con permiso. And we are continuing our road. And my friends are over there again. Here's the local baker, or one of the local bakers, closed right now, but it is a good thing to know. What did you guys find? Uh-oh. Oh my God, that's a giant bug. And a very unhappy one. Look at that. Let me take a photo. Okay. That is definitely bigger than my thumb. Wow. Buenas tardes. As you keep walking into town, you notice there's all these signs for hotels. This one is called La Pareja, or the couple. I don't know if it's a couple's hotel, but there are so many options for lodging here. From very inexpensive basic hotels, which is my personal choice, to swanky hotels that makes me wonder, if you want to experience the life in a small town, why would you go to a swanky hotel? But to each their own. Okay. This is a good place to point out something you won't even be able to see because it's covered in fog. You see, one of the big attractions here at San Sebastián is El Cerro de la Bufa, which is a mountaintop so high you can see the bay on a clear day. And then you get to this one particular spot. Let me show you. And all of a sudden, you're standing here and you can see the church right through this opening. Buenas tardes. We'll get to see the church in a second. But look at how whimsical the architecture is here. All of a sudden you see these streets that go up the hills and end up going to somebody's house, I suppose. And we are now 1 block away from the main plaza and 1 block away from our hotel, which is a hotel that I've been staying at the last few years every time I come and visit, and I want to show it to you because it's such an awesome little hotel. I just love it there, and it is right here behind this fruit tree. And it's called Posada El Oeste. Now this is the hotel of choice. But I want to show you the main plaza because it's right ahead. If you haven't been here before, let me have a gay boy break. Hey guys, where are we going to have our beer? Or are we not going to have a beer?
I think it's a drop off of a couple things and then walk you to the beer.
Or are we going to start our heel?
What time is it? It's only 1.
Oh, we should find a beer there then. Should we go to El Fortín and sit outside? I think we can do that. I'm gonna walk the plaza anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna drop a couple things off.
I'll see you in a bit.
Tommy? I'm gonna go this way, okay?
Okay, so I want you guys to see the main plaza because this is where everything happens in this town. Well, not everything, but this is the main plaza. And here we are. Let me first take a quick shot of this view. This is the main plaza. The church is right behind the plaza, and we'll get to see that in a second. First, let me get onto the main kiosk or the main plaza so we can take it all in from there. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, señor.
Buenas tardes. So here we are. This is the main plaza in San Sebastián. You can see people are visiting town. I'm gonna get on top of the kiosk so that I can give you a better explanation of what I know. Hola, perrito. Hey, doggy. Okay, so here we are, up in the mountains. Again, La Bufa is up there. You cannot see it now. The fog is coming in, and it wouldn't be surprising if the fog came as low as the town, and the town being immersed in fog later on. There's a hotel there, private home. There's a hotel in that corner. There's a beautiful restaurant down on that corner, which is called El Fortín, which is where we're going to have some beers. And then there's this stretch in front of me that is all kinds of little shops where you can buy things and knickknacks. Upstairs from the shops, there's a little cafe where you can actually sit down and enjoy a nice beverage. I like it because you can order a coffee with Baileys early in the morning and they won't frown or anything. And another thing that I like about that little coffee shop is that you can order something called chingaderas. And I mean it. I'm going to show you the item on the menu because I took a photograph of it. And you're probably wondering what chingaderas is, and now you're going to know. So there is a lot more to San Sebastián del Oeste. Needless to say, you can walk around a lot of little paths and roads and alleyways. But sometimes it's difficult to imagine that we're only 1 hour and 15 minutes away from Puerto Vallarta. And the weather's different, the climate is different. When there's not a pandemic going on, there's a gorgeous paper balloon festival here that takes place on September's. The patron saint festival takes place in January, and this town becomes just a madhouse of joy and merriment, and it's just a beautiful place to visit. And this, of course, answers the question as to where I went for my high heel walking intensive. We were actually just looking for an excuse to come here and bring some high heels to learn how to use them. So I suppose this is it. I will try to add more to this video if we get around to it, but I just wanted to give you a taste of what San Sebastián del Oeste is like. If you want to visit here, you can come in your own car. You can hire a van like we did. There's 7 of us, and we ended up hiring a van, and the round trip turned out to be like 700 pesos per person, and it, of course, it's our trusted driver. So There are many ways to get here. I just wish that you'll give yourself the opportunity to experience a town that has remained pretty much frozen in time for the last 110 years or so. I'm signing off because it's almost time to go trip on my shoes. Thank you for watching. Ciao.